What's up everybody, I'm TridentZ and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. Today we're talking about the graphics card or Bitcoin farm once again. And I know I've covered this topic before, but it just keeps changing and I thought it was relevant to the times that I post a video about it. Now I'm sure all of you know the developers have taken some action to make the Bitcoin farm a little less overpowered. They have reduced the price of overall Bitcoins and they have made the Bitcoin farm produce Bitcoins for longer periods of times. Now, it's not a new thing that's been going on with these series of nerfs, but there has been a ton, and it begs the question, how much did this affect the Bitcoin? Did it really affect the economy? And is it still worth it to go for the Bitcoin farm? So today we're going to be answering all those questions, and first and foremost, if I'm boring you guys, understand that there's timestamps and you can skip to whichever part favors you the most. But I would suggest watching the entire video even though it can get boring because it's relevant information that's going to help you out in the long run. And also it does take me a lot of time to compile all this information, put it in a presentable manner, and of course do the timestamps and editing. So a like on this video would be highly appreciated. And yeah, thank you guys. Let's get on with the rest of the video. All right, so firstly, let's talk about the changes. So I said I'm going to be linking this in the description down below. This is a Google Sheets I've created to make it easily presented to you guys of how the Bitcoin farm performs. So this was the old values, as you can see here. I made a video on this in the past, and yeah, they changed it up. So now here we are making another video on it. All these values have changed, even how the hours for one to make and how the prices are. Ignore this right side. This was for solar power. These values have changed, of course, as well, because why wouldn't they? Anytime I do a video, they decide to change it. Anyway, let's go on with these values. So as you can see here, they have made it so it's longer than a 24-hour period for a single Bitcoin. Of course, they've also reduced it by around 15 to 20%. So Bitcoins are worth around 550K right now. They're actually worth around 560K as of making this video. And here it is in game, so you guys know that I'm not lying to you. It's currently 564K to Therapist. That's how much they go for right now in the game. So if we take a look back at the chart, we can see that if we have 50 GPUs, we're going to make around 1.3 mil a day. We're going to produce around 2.4 Bitcoins a day. And obviously we can't produce 0.4 Bitcoins, but it overlaps into the next day and keeps going on forth. So it's more stable to look at the rubles per day rather than the Bitcoins per day, which would be around 1.3 mil. Now, obviously, all these values are different for depending on how many graphics cards you have. I'm just using 50 as an example because that's how many I have, and that's how many max Bitcoin farm of its potential can have. Obviously, the most important values are going to be 10, 25, and 50 because those are 1, 2, and 3 for the Bitcoin farm levels. So you guys want to be paying attention towards those and thinking about how many graphics cards you have in relation to the Hideout upgrades and if you should do it, if it's worth it or not. But obviously it is a amazing asset to have. It's just not as overpowered as obviously before. That being said, it was never been this good ever, like in the history of Tarkov. So there's also that to take into account. So no one's going to be upset with 1.3 mil a day. The question is, though, how do we get to this 1.3 mil mark? You know, how are the Hideout upgrades? Are they worth it in relation to how much money we're going to have to investing versus our payout? And I've answered this question many times, and in a simple word, the answer is yes, it will be worth it. The level 3 Bitcoin farm will make you back the money no matter what. The one thing is, with the graphics cards, they do cost a lot. I would recommend finding these in RAID. I know it's a little hard. You're going to have to probably run a lot of interchange and reserve going for the drop-down room and the multiple tech stores. But with that being said, it is definitely worth it. Also, one thing to take into account is that, yes, this developer update was really, really late, but it did have a hit on the economy. If we look at the graphics cards, it's probably the most prevalent of how the economy was moved. It used to be 1.6 mil for a graphics card, at minimum 1.5. Now it's toward the 1.2 mil range. You know, do with that information whatever you will. Maybe that's just because people don't value the Bitcoin farm as highly as they did before, or maybe it's because the entire economy was moved. I can notice that some of the prices on other stuff has dropped as well. Like, for example, the water filters used to be 180K. Now they're around the 130K mark. So maybe it did take a hit on the economy. It's a little too early to tell. You know, 12.10 was around a week or two ago. And the way the Tarkov economy works, it fluctuates all the time. But I can tell you guys that so far from what I've seen, it did have a positive impact. In an economy inflation standpoint, obviously you're not making money as efficiently, so that's a negative for those of you who did have the Bitcoin farm maxed out. Although they did make it harder for you to level up from Bitcoin farm level 2 to 3, as they did change up the solar power and now you'll be needing more Asas. The good thing about that though is I've noticed that the Asas are actually a lot cheaper. So this is another place that we can take a look on how the economy has shifted. What used to be around 2.25 mil is now around 800K. And that's a huge swing. That's huge. And it was at 2.25. Once the market stabilized, it was around the 1.5 range, which is still half the price. It's a huge thing to take into account. And people might be asking, you know, what does that mean? Does that have to do with the Bitcoin farm directly? Does that just have to do with players progressing, finding more phase arrays, and it becoming cheaper? And the real answer is, it's too early to tell. We don't really know. But from all of the different things that are important in the hideout becoming cheaper, I'm starting to suspect that the economy was actually affected by this. You know, take it for what it is. It's all speculation, but I think we can conclude pretty safely that the economy was affected. Definitely for at least the graphics cards and the phase array. You know, the water filter, it's kind of difficult to tell because it doesn't directly have to do with the Bitcoin farm. And just so it's in the video and I showed off, it has actually become way more materials you'll be needing for CPU fans. Pretty much all around, to be honest, with the Bitcoin farm, at least going from level 2 to level 3. I don't think much has changed with level 1. I believe there was one little change. I think it had to do with the power supply units. But to be totally honest, not much has changed money-wise. It's not going to be a huge difference. What was a huge change was how the solar power was affected, and they did change up the solar power if we take a look at that. And the reason why the solar power is important is because you'll be needing it to go from level 2 to level 3 Bitcoin farm. But as you can see here, you need 4 phase array elements, 75,000 euros, 10 military cables, 10 military power filters. That can add up to a lot of money. I believe it's around the 20 to 25 mil mark, especially with those euros costing a lot of money. I believe it will be in the double digits of millions. You know, the 4 phase arrays would be around 800K each, so 3.2 mil. 75K euros would be around 8 to 9 mil, so we're already over to 11 mil. The 10 military cables is around 500K to 600K, and the 10 military power filters would be around 700K. Not to mention generator level 3 and workbench level 3, those are totally taken into account. It's a lot of money, and it's way too hard to list them all because I'll have to go down a rabbit hole of each hideout placement that I'll need, and obviously everything that I'm saying is just an estimation. I'm not saying it as a fact because the prices of the flea market do always change. But yeah, my final takeaways and speculations of this is that it was long awaited and it's about time that they did do something about this. It's a question if they should have done this earlier. Obviously, it would have changed up the game entirely because now you see a lot of people running with meta gear more often. You'll see level 10s, level 15s even running with Strix and Altons, using M61s, and you know, I could go into a whole rant about how annoying that might be, but it's also kind of freeing because now you get to use gear you wouldn't rather have used, and you don't have to worry about money as much if you do have the Bitcoin farm. With that said, it is kind of harder to get your Bitcoin farm up and running just because graphics cards are really hard to find. If you guys want a video detailing where to find graphics cards and the best spawns for them, I'll put it up on the top right as well as in the description right now. And that's as well as I can do for that. I did find all my graphics cards before they managed to nerf it, so I did get lucky on that. I would not recommend buying them, guys. Try to find them. If you can't find them and you get impatient and you do have the money, buying the graphics cards, you'll be able to make your money back with the absolute most 50 GPUs in and everything maxed out Bitcoin farm. You're gonna make that money back with one graphics card paid for each day. That doesn't take into account with all of the other hideout stuff you're gonna be needing to pay for. But yeah, I would try to progress through the game. Try your best to get all this stuff done. It will take time. It's a matter of time, basically. There's not really much skill of finding these graphics cards. You kind of just have to rush the positions and put them in your container. And if you die, you die. If you survive with it, I would probably use it. And if you have a max Bitcoin farm and you die with them, then you should replace them for the founder array ones in your Bitcoin farm and sell those. And with all that said, I just want to put this up on the screen so you guys can take a final look at it. This will be in the description so you guys can check it out there. That's going to be it for the entire video. Thank you guys for watching. If this video helped you out, be sure to drop that follow and like for more guide videos like these. If you guys want to see me play Escape from Tarkov, check out our Twitch and Discord links down below for notifications whenever I'm live. Thank you all for being here. Have a nice night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.